Detroit Lions. Better late than never. Out of the gun. Jackson's got it. Running to his right. Wants to throw. Now being pressured. Ball's loose on the ground. It is recovered by Jackson, but it does not matter. That's Lions football. A fourth down stop by this team. Jackson tried to roll out, had a run-pass option, and Jack Campbell was there to knock that ball loose. That is a big-time stop by that defense. Lions show 4 across the front. There's the snap. Jackson back, looking right. Pressure comes. Jackson still looking. Stepping up. Gonna get hit. Gonna go down. Al-Quadin Mohammed got him. Goff out of the gun. Montgomery to his right. Jared's got it back and looking, throwing right side. Wants Amon-Ra. End zone. Got it. Touchdown, Detroit Lions. What a delivery that time by Goff, where only Amon-Ra with those late hands could pull it in. And the Lions are an extra point away from drawing even once again here in Baltimore. Jackson fakes the give to Henry. Wants to throw. Steps up. Good.
Yeah. 1 2 1 2. 1 2 1 2. Mic check. Hey, can y'all hear me out there? Against all odds. 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 Against all odds.
The podcast.
Shout out to Rockhound Detroit Lions, man. One pride.
Rise and Grind Morning Show is the best podcast in the world. Meek Robinson.
Good morning, Detroit Lions fans. Man, it is an excellent day to be a Lions fan. We are back. And we are back because Dan Campbell put these Lions on his back, called an excellent game yesterday. I'm super excited to see where this team now goes. And we've got a lot to figure out. Where's John Morton going to fit in this whole thing? We're going to listen to Dan Campbell once again this morning and kind of hear what he said this week, last week. We'll try to talk about it briefly. I don't want to pound it to death, but it's going to be the hottest topic all week. But do us a quick favor, man. We are trying to give away a full-size helmet. This week, we're also going to be doing the giveaway for the Lions tickets, the 10K giveaway. No, I didn't forget about you. We're going to be doing that this week as well. And look, if you want to be part of one of the best channels covering your Detroit Lions, there's a lot of good channels out there. This is one of them we believe can help you get there. All the information that you need. Just hit that subscribe button real quick. Because if you don't, the future shows are going to be subscriber mode only, and that is so we can get rid of the bots. But you found the right place. Let's get into it. It's Monday Morning Breakdown.
Pressured by Hutchinson. He goes down again.
All right, good morning, Eric. What's happening, man?
Hey, Victory Monday. That's what's happening in the cold, frosty UP of Michigan.
Yeah, we got pelted last night with some snow. Actually, kind of all weekend, really. Why is this thing still saying that it's waiting on us? So do we not have a live show right now? What's going on?
Oh,
here?
no, it's on. It's
okay.
On. I see it. Yeah. Watching it on my phone. Yeah, we are in. Yeah, it was freezing in my room out here because I'm out in my garage. This is, I forgot to turn the heat on. So it was like 20 something degrees out here this morning.
Yeah, that's never fun. I got my heat rolling all the time out here in this converted studio.
Yeah. After today,
what?
After today, I'll have heat out here all the time. I bought a Nest for out here, and it can't control 220 baseboard heat. I need a different type of, I don't know, timer switch or something, or thermostat. So got to get the right thing ordered, be here in a couple days.
There you go.
Oh, yeah. Krista H., my bet did not hit. I needed 11 more yards from Amon-Ra St. Brown, and I would have hit for over $700 yesterday.
Man, I had so many that were so close. Like I did some wild, really super wild parlays, and look, I do the crazy ones because I only bet like 50 cents or $1, and like some of these will make like $6,000, $2,000, and you know what? Missing like one or two players, it really burns me up. Just one or two players when you're doing a 14 or a 19 parlay, and it's like, I'm glad I'm hitting a lot, but it's just those. And if you don't have those one or two extras, it doesn't pay. It doesn't pay squat. I'm not trying to make $40.
Yeah. Well, Amon-Ra, he has hit for at least 70 yards 7 games in a row, and then yesterday he got 58 yards, and I'm like, no, I needed 11 more yards.
I mean, you could kind of see that it was coming, right? I mean, you could see that it was coming.
Yeah,
And-
but it was going, and then they got to the fourth quarter and they didn't throw the ball anymore, and I'm like, no.
Yeah. Well, we kind of expected it, right?
Yeah.
I think that we expected it. So I'm looking at our picks from last week. We had, I don't know if these were the right.
yeah.
I don't know if these were the right ones or not. But did you have J-Mo be more involved to the tune of 100 yards and a touchdown?
Let me see.
Is that the right one? You had 15 tackles for Jack Campbell, or was that versus the Vikings? No, that was all Vikings. I'm going to erase that. It says J.J. McCarthy in there. That's all Vikings stuff.
Yeah, no. The new one should be right at the top for me. Let's see here. What the heck?
But anyway, we'll get into that in a little bit. We'll do that when we do the breakdown. Recap the Rocks Locks this week. I think I hit pretty well on trying to diagnose what the Lions should have done in this game. Didn't know that Dan Campbell was going to be calling the plays, but if he wasn't calling the plays, I don't know that we would have even come anywhere near what our predictions were for this past weekend's game. And look, I don't know about you, Eric, but this team felt different, looked different, probably even smelt different, right? I mean, they just played with such energy. I mean, maybe that's the right word. There was a ton of energy going on in this field. And it kind of hit me. Like, you texted me and you said, looks like Dan Campbell's calling plays. And I'm like, I haven't noticed it yet. And then you said something about, I just saw it again. And then I got a text right after that. One of my friends was sitting around the 50-yard line right behind the Lions bench and said, Dan Campbell is absolutely calling plays. And then the announcer started to talk about it. I'm like, all right. And so then the very next play, I want to say we had a tight formation. I think it was the left side, but the camera zoomed in on like Amon-Ra St. Brown, and I think it was J-Mo. And the way that they hustled up to the line, I mean, it was a tempo play, but the way that they just hustled and they got ready and they had so much energy, you could just feel it that they were excited. J-Mo was definitely excited. He knew that he was going to be a big part of this game. We'll re-listen to J-Mo and what he said last night. But what a clear difference between a guy that knows his players, which Dan Campbell said last night, a coach that knows his playbook, knows what these players can do. And I'm not trying to knock Morton because he's an extremely sharp, smart, offensive guy. But you remember what I said a few weeks ago? You can't continue to try to fit a square, peg into a round hole or vice versa. You can't do it.
Yep.
You can't try to modify it and force these guys to do something that they haven't been doing. John Morton said in the very beginning of the season, I'm not going to change much that's been working. We'll have a few new wrinkles. And the most important thing he said was, we're going to be more explosive. We want more explosives. He's been everything but explosive. Clearly, John Morton was the issue. Wasn't the players. I'm glad to hear that Dan Campbell made the decision to move on from Morton shortly after the Vikings game, like the next day, I think is what he said. And it wasn't after his pathetic press conference where he was kind of knocking the players a little bit. John Morton needs, for every one finger that you're pointing at somebody else, you got 9 more pointing back at you, buddy. And look, I appreciate everything that he's done for this team. And Dan Campbell said he's an extremely important piece to this team still. And yesterday, after the game, I said, I'm wondering if this is going to be a collaboration of these guys. Are they going to work together with Johnny Moe up in the Hawk's Nest, or up in the booth, communicating to Dan on what he's seen and allow Dan to kind of just, call the plays. Obviously, Dan hasn't called plays in a minute, so he had to get back into it. But I thought he did a great game. I thought he did a great job. Called a great game. Our explosives were back. Everything that I expected to happen in this game pretty much happened the way that I expected it to happen. And again, I'll say it, without Dan Campbell, I don't know that it does. So what was the most impressive part of this for you last night, watching Dan Campbell orchestrate a pretty amazing offense last night.
Just the fact that it felt like last year again. That's it. It felt like they took off the wet blanket that was covering everyone. All smiles, all the time. Everyone laser focused. Everyone knew exactly what they were supposed to be doing. And you want to know what I saw yesterday? I only saw one pass behind the line of scrimmage the entire game. One. And it was a screen pass.
Yeah, I don't think that screen pass. I don't remember if that screen pass went anywhere or not.
No, it made like a yard.
Yeah.
But listen, last week we had 10 plays behind the line where the ball was thrown behind the line of scrimmage. 10. And they went nowhere. None of them. You're beating your head against a wall.
Yeah, to say the least.
And I am so glad that MCDC stood up for himself. He took back the play calling, and he's being, I think he's almost being a little too nice about it with John Morton.
Well, I mean, I don't think he wants to. I don't think he wants to throw the guy in the garbage can, and
he doesn't, and he doesn't want to throw him under the bus. But at the end of the season, I don't think Johnny Morton will be with the Detroit Lions anymore. It's going to be just like Anthony Lynn. He will stick around until the end of the season, and then it'll be thank you, but no thank you. We've had enough.
Yeah, and so that begs the question: is Dan Campbell going to be calling plays for the foreseeable future? You know, what he mentioned yesterday was he thought about it long and hard. Decided he didn't want to do it because it takes so much more from him. I like Dan Campbell, the coach, and his ability to facilitate a game and being able to orchestrate everything that has to go on. He has to have his fingers in everything. It's kind of hard when you're calling plays. Not to say he couldn't do it. There's other coaches that do it, but it takes a lot to call plays and be able to have your fingers in every little thing going on. He would probably have to put in an extra 10 hours of work a week. So I think that's where Johnny Mo is valuable, where he can continue to do, like Dan Campbell said, he can continue to do his game breakdowns, bring to him, the passing concepts that he sees, go in and completely break down the opponent of the week and bring Dan Campbell on a silver platter and say, here, this is what I see out of the defense. This is what I feel like we can do as a team. And then let Dan Campbell take it from there and put together the game plan. So I do believe, to your point, Johnny Mo's probably not going to go anywhere. And Dan Campbell even mentioned last night he didn't seem like he was totally sure that this was going to be a season-long thing. Maybe it was just getting Johnny Mo to open up his eyes and see what this offense can really be if he calls it a different way. And Eric, I have to go back to what I've been saying all season. What is the one thing that I said at the very beginning of this season about Johnny Mo that I thought was going to be a problem? Do you remember? You don't remember? Him being up in the box.
Oh, well, yeah.
That was the biggest thing. Is him being up in the box was going to be the biggest problem because you take away that personal connection with your team and your players, and you can't talk to them during plays. You have to communicate through a headset to somebody else that then communicates it to the players. I think that totally takes away the ability or the opportunity to make corrections in the moment, and you're hearing it from your coach, not a coach's facilitator. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like, you have to be able to have a conversation one-on-one with your players, I think, on the sideline. I think that has to be there. And if you're not seeing something right and you're able to talk to Jared Goff in between plays or, in between defense, offensive possessions, that gives you more of an opportunity to kind of sit back and reformulate your plan a little bit, make some adjustments if you need to. The other thing that I had mentioned as we had followed through this season is, man, when we got a turnover, it just seemed like he didn't know what to do. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it seemed like we got lucky. We had one good game where we had 17 points off of turnovers, but everything outside of that didn't seem to work a whole lot. if Dan Campbell was calling plays this entire season, we're probably undefeated.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably my hot take of the day. We're probably undefeated if Dan is calling plays. Let's get right into some of the breakdown. Let's start with the Lions locker room celebration and see what Dan Campbell had to say there. It'd probably help if I had volume on, huh? All right, here we go.
Dude, how about the defense? Listen, 9 points allowed, 4 of 16 on third down, 1 interception, 1 fumble recovery, 252 yards allowed, man. That's outstanding defense. Listen, we did what we had to do. There's things we got to clean up, but I tell you what, defense, you play like that, you win every game. That's the bottom line. That's outstanding. That's the way to cut it loose, just like we talked about, guys. All right, I got really 3 game balls. I'm going to start on offense. 136 rushing yards, 82 receiving yards, 2 total touchdowns, 218 total yards. Jameer Gibbs.
What's that? Oh, shoot. I don't know how it switched to that. My bad. Hold on.
Yeah,
Kellogg's
Goff
Frosted
last week.
Flakes.
I'm like, what
4
the hell?
simple ingredients plus vitamins and minerals.
Got
That's
black
it.
jerseys on all of a sudden.
Yeah, hold on. My bad. Somehow I switched it.
That's hilarious.
Hey, great game for Jameer Gibbs. Here we go.
He did. I was amazed he didn't get one. 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, he should have got one for sure. Here we go.
All right, hey, man, that's the way to go. All right? We don't listen to what anybody else says about what we are, what we aren't. We know what we are. We always bounce back. It's about getting better every week. All right? There's things we got to clean up. I got it. But, man, that's more like us. That's a lot more like us. I'm proud of you guys, though. I didn't expect anything different. I really didn't. I got 1 game ball. All right? This guy, 25 of 33, 76% completion percentage, 320 yards, 3 tugs, 135.9 rating. Jared Goff.
Defense, if you can hear me, way to go. Way to respond. I love you, boys. Let's keep going.
Let's get everything packed up. Get the hell out of here. All right, get home. Great job, man. 6 wins. Break it down. Let's go. Hey, lines on 3. 1, 2, 3. Lines.
Okay. I like the other one better. I like the other Lions post game better.
Yeah. But
it was a similar thing though, right? I mean, it was a very similar game where,
yeah.
I mean, Jared Goff had an incredible game, but come on, Jameer Gibbs, he completely shredded this offense.
Yep.
Shredded it. Go ahead.
Dan Campbell, he missed a golden opportunity.
Okay.
Golden. To have the funniest game ball presentation ever.
Enlighten me.
He should have given the game ball to Mr. Jack Fox.
Why is that?
Because we didn't have to use him for a single play. The Lions scored on every offensive series except the kneel down at the end of the game, and Jack Fox, all he had to do was hold the ball for
Bates,
for Bates for the kicks. That's it. So what a game by Jack Fox. He didn't even have to use his leg. It would have been a golden opportunity to give him a game ball.
He'll get one at some point. I mean, he's had some incredible games this year too, but
for holding down the bench, what a great job, Jack Fox.
Yeah. Hey, I like the other one better. I mean, obviously Dan just wanted to get the hell out of there, right? I mean,
yeah.
he knew what was coming. And he was already getting peppered, obviously, during the press conference. But he knew what was coming. But, I mean, Jared Goff did have a hell of a game. One of his best games of the season so far. 94.1 QBR, 135.9 rating. Wasn't perfect. We put up the ball 33 times, which I was a bit surprised, especially the way that we were running the ball. But how about David Montgomery and Jameer Gibbs combined 213 yards on the ground? I mean, those guys, they saw everything. But 15 opportunities apiece. Each one of them took their opportunities when they had it. 9.5 yards for Jameer Gibbs per rush. 4.7 for David Montgomery per carry. 2 touchdowns for Jameer Gibbs on the ground. 3 touchdowns for Jameer Gibbs overall. He had 1 through the air. 3 catches of 30 yards. So overall, Jameer Gibbs had 172 yards on the night. David Montgomery didn't do a whole lot in the past game. Matter of fact, he did nothing, but finished with 71 yards on the night. No touchdowns. Didn't really need it. Hell of a game by both those guys. But I look, J-Mo. I am so impressed with J-Mo right now. The way that he's playing, but more importantly, the way that he's speaking. I mean, he's done nothing but hold it down, stay patient, stay hungry. Yeah, there was a couple of games that I called him out for being lackadaisical and just kind of jogging through it. And I think you noticed that went away last night. He was ready to rock and roll. I know J-Mo's one of your favorite players. What was the big difference or change for you last night with J-Mo?
J-Mo, just the fact that they took the chains off. He wasn't jogging on routes. So when it was a run
Kellogg's
play,
Frosted Flakes. 4 simple ingredients.
Hold on. My bad. Go ahead.
Kellogg's. All right. When J-Mo, when it was a run play, he was blocking his ass off.
Mm-hmm.
He was way downfield. He was doing what he was supposed to be. He wasn't just jog. Because during that Viking game, I was paying attention to it. He was jogging half the game. He was not happy during that game. He knew the ball was not going his way. And on a play when he knew nothing was going his way, he just, you know. But yesterday, every single play, he never took a play off. And it was great to see. You could just see the giant weight lifted off of his shoulders and the entire offense. You could just see this giant weight was gone. The wet blanket, goodbye. So this is such a good feeling as a Lions fan today to see what happened with J-Mo and the rest of the offense yesterday. I just hope we keep this going and keep this style of football for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to be a concern as long as Dan Campbell's calling plays right now. I have to admit that I've lost all my confidence in Johnny Moe calling plays. Doesn't mean that he can't help this offense. And you'll hear Dan Campbell say that in a moment. But J-Mo has, I mean, he's gone through the dark times of this season where he wasn't targeted. He wasn't a part of the game plan. And I don't care who you are. I don't care what level of pro you are. I don't care how much you block in a game and how they make you feel like you were part of it. If you're not getting the ball, if you're not putting up any yards, if you're not getting in the end zone, eventually it's going to wear you down. And I think that's what happened with J-Mo. It just wore him down. And you know, at one point through the season, I like I mentioned, you noticed he just wasn't out there giving his all on every play. And I mentioned to you this morning on the phone, look, I would have been the same way probably. I don't know. I'm not in his shoes, but I can tell you this. He has worked his ass off to stay relevant in this league. He has worked through all of the issues that he has had. You know, coming in as a rookie, didn't know the playbook that well, and it showed. And he wasn't popping off the page. The second year, he had a much better year, but you could still tell he was still trying to navigate the waters, and it wasn't all clicking for him. He missed, you know, some easy balls over his shoulder, some deep shots, and then people were blaming Goff for it. And really, it was J-Mo. In his third season, he finally pops off for over 1,000 yards, but it's not the 1,000 that I'm happy with. It's the way that he went about it. It's how he continued to get better and put himself and the quarterback in a position to win. This year, everything that we saw from training camp forward, we expected J-Mo to have an amazing season. And he still can. He still has half the season ahead of him. I mean, he's not going to get 100 yards a game. It'd be great if he did. But he could still crack 1,000, no problem. I think that's still a great season. I think I had him down for 1,200 yards this year, 1,300 yards. I'd have to go back and look. But he's not far off from that. And he is a very valuable piece to this offense. And again, I'll say this 10 times in a row. J-Mo's attitude is everything. His smile is infectious. The way that he has been speaking to reporters over the last several weeks, I don't know how you can't love the guy. He's put everything out there. He's put his heart on his sleeve for this team. He deserves to be part of the plan. And Dan Campbell told him, I'm coming to you. Be ready. He was ready. He capitalized, and he made the Commanders pay. Anything you want to add to that before I jump into JMO's video?
Nah, we just got some guy in the chat. I paused him for 24 hours. So I'm not going to have somebody talking like that to our moderators and our people in the chat. Okay.
Uh-oh.
So if you're listening, watch the way you talk to people, be respectful, or you can go somewhere else.
I didn't see that. Who was it?
Yeah.
I'll look later.
Yeah, it's all right.
I'll look later. Yeah, definitely need to be respectful. There's nothing to be angry about today. What are we angry about today?
No, nothing at all.
All right, here we go.
Yeah, this is good times. We're winning.
All right, JMO.
JMO, a lot of it was the crosser save. We get so used to seeing you on those go routes and down the field, but just how effective
They had to blur out his hat.
Getting open and getting by.
What's on his hat?
I don't know.
Why was that so effective?
I think it was effective, going in with the game plan and how they tried to play us. It was a lot of man and match coverage. So, us getting open and running away from running away from DBs is like, it get like, a part of the game plan. So, you got to perfect that, especially when you're getting man and they trying to play back heel, just snatch off and, it'll be there.
You guys scored on every possession until that kneel down at the end. Highest offensive output in like a month. How much do you think was attributed to Dan taking over play calling?
I gotta pause right here for just a brief second because just listen to his breakdown, where he's talking about the way that they were playing match concepts last night. And if they're going to do that, then you're going to be able to run away from these guys and then expecting it on your back hip. And you just got to be ready for it. So he gets the game. Like, he's a smart dude when it comes to football. I know a lot of people didn't give him the credit. Yeah, he struggled with the playbook at times, but he's beyond that. He's just playing football now. And you're seeing him come alive. So I had to give him a quick shout out there, man. Super smart.
And we've been begging for that play for how long this season?
Probably the entire season, man.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it since week 2.
We've been begging and begging and begging for them to get JMO involved by giving him, what did I say, 7 to 10 yard passes across the middle.
Yep. That was
my God.
That was
not that hard.
One of the biggest keys that I had mentioned last week. If we're not going to get him involved between 9 and 12 yards, he's not going to be successful. You can't keep putting him out there at the 17, yard mark or 15-yard mark and expecting these deep shots. He needs the football early in the progression, and he needs to utilize his ability for yak, and he exploded for yak last night. We'll touch on that in just a minute.
Shout out to Dan and how he controlled the game, but I think we went out there with a chip on our shoulder and just with a chip to execute coming off the loss last week. And shout out to the players. I think Jameer 3 touchdowns. Everybody got the ball in their hands. So when you spread the ball around a lot like that, it's easy to score a lot of points, and especially with the playmakers we got at every position.
Did the offense feel different at all, though?
I wouldn't say so.
Everybody wants the ball in their hands. You had to be getting it as much probably as you wanted to. You seemed to really be enjoying the game more, that flip into the end zone. How much better of a player are you when you're happier?
I'm the same player every day, with no matter me getting the ball or not getting the ball. I'm the same player when I wake up. I go into the building for practice, when I wake up on Sunday for the game. I try not to let that affect me, just go out there and make plays whenever my number is called. And that's just a huge and the biggest thing with me. I just want to make plays when my number is called, no matter how many times it's called, because I can't control that part of the side. So I just try to take advantage of every time my number is called.
Did you have a good idea that you'd be a little bit more involved this week, like maybe?
I can't really tell till Sunday when we get on the field and the plays get called. So we practice every day. We practice plays. We practice a lot of plays. But when Sunday get to the game and when coach feeling what he feel, when he see what he see with the defenses and the plays get called, my number get called, I just excited to make a play for the team and move the sticks or score.
You weren't here the last time that Dan Campbell was the play caller. How funny was seeing with the glasses?
No, it was kind of funny seeing him with the glasses for sure. It's like my first time or second time maybe seeing him with the glasses. It's a different look for sure. It's a different look for sure.
I know it wasn't the main focus of this week, but this was revenge a little bit for last year in the playoffs. How much was that a motivation for you?
I would say, you know, it's a little motivation, but, you know, now this week over, we ain't even worried about last year playoffs or what happened just a couple hours ago. We focus on our opponent that we got next Sunday. I think it's Sunday night, prime time. So, you know, we got to get back tonight, get ready this week, and, you know, just be ready on Sunday.
Guys, time for 2 more, please.
You've been really kind of even keeled throughout all this, as passes might not have been coming your way. I guess how have you managed to stay even through all this?
You know, just coming from where I'm coming from, being in this position means a lot to me. I would never pout or show people that I'm down or even be down, with not being involved. I'm happy every day. I get to wake up, thank God, and I get to do what I love doing, playing football and being out there with guys who I built relationships and bonds with. So, I could never let other things sidetrack me like that.
What do you think, Jared?
Great game. Game ball winner. I think he's coming in right now.
All right. Love it, man. Absolutely love it. J-Mo, 2 feet down, standing on his business. Oh, I just scared my dog. 2 feet down. He's standing on business, man. He had a great game, and I love what he's saying here. Look, I can't be down. Coming, like, for what he says, coming from where he came from, every day is a blessing to him, and he just appreciates being able to wake up, go about his business. Want to bring in a couple of things here from Johnny Mo over the last couple of weeks. And quite simply, he said, quote, I looked at everything as far as that. I'm going to do a better job with that, but there has been opportunities where it just didn't happen. He also said, it's not like we ain't going to try to target him. So that was the biggest thing. So I looked at everything and I definitely failed him. And he did. Johnny Mo did fail. He didn't just fail Jameson Williams. He was failing the entire team. He went on to recognize where he said, this guy, quote, he's awesome. He doesn't say anything. He just goes and plays. Like I said to him, I wouldn't fault you if you're pissed at me. I don't think J-Mo's pissed. I just think he wants to play. He also said, hey, he came to me and expressed how he felt, but with me, this is what J-Mo said. He came to me and expressed how he felt, but with me, I really wasn't taking it too far into thinking about it. Again, J-Mo's doing an excellent job. I got to bring my pup out. I scared him so much, I think he's got to pee. I'll be right back. So, Eric, take it away.
Oh, man. So do you think that possibly that this has been coming for weeks now, that maybe some of the players, J-Mo, whoever, might have gotten into it with John Morton? Maybe not like screaming in a locker room or anything, but going to Dan and saying, hey, this just isn't working. Where's the offense from last year? Where's the freedom to do the things we need to do? We need to get this thing back on track. So I'm wondering if the players started going to Dan Campbell, and that is the reason all of this happened. Not because of some giant blow up in the locker room or anything, but they just feel like they're handcuffed with Johnny Morton. Maybe John Morton just wasn't letting the offense breathe the way it needs to breathe. And I'm wondering if for weeks now, a player here, a player there, or maybe a bunch of them got together and went to Dan and said, hey, we need to get back on track like we were last year. Can we start running the offense the way we did it last year? Because this just is not working, throwing the ball behind the line of scrimmage 20 times a game. And I just wonder if that is something that happened. And John Desage says, I don't think that happened at all, Eric. I don't know.
What I miss?
I asked this question. Do you think that it's possible that for weeks now, one or more of the players have went to Dan and said, this just isn't working with Johnny Mo. Can we open the offense back up like we were last year? I wonder if this was a player-led thing. Not that there was some big fight in the locker room like other people were trying to say last week. I don't think that ever happened.
No.
I think that this was cool, calm heads that all got together And what are you going to do when Jared Goff, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Gibbs, Demo, and J-Mo come into your office one day and say, Dan, can we open this back up the way we had it last year? Something's just not right. It's not clicking. I don't know if it's Johnny Mo. I don't know what it is. And then you go out and you lay that stinker against the Vikings. And I think that was the final straw, and we're never going to know if the players went to Dan about it. But I have to wonder if that's what started all of this, was players going to Dan Campbell.
I wouldn't put it past them. I mean, I would say that from what we understand, I mean, Dan has his one-on-ones, and he has an open door policy, as he's explained numerous times. If the players have something that they want to discuss, if there's something on their mind, they can absolutely go to Dan anytime and have a conversation. So I wouldn't look. I think that that's great insight that you brought to this. I think that it absolutely is a potential that maybe is Amon-Ra St. Brown, maybe it was Jared Goff, maybe it was a collective. But to your point, there wasn't like some big falling out. Matter of fact, it was never reported. There was some people that were saying that there was a giant fight between Johnny Mo and some of the players. It never happened. It never happened. That type of stuff is just clickbait BS. But to think that they went and had an adult conversation about it, yeah, that's possible. Absolutely, it's possible. They want to win, And
I could definitely see where Goff, Morton, and MCDC were in a room together last week after that loss.
Yeah,
discussing
absolutely,
exactly this.
I'm sure. I'm sure that they had conversations. Now, when it came to changing up the coordinator position, I don't even know that a player would overstep that bounds. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not sure that they would do something like that as far as saying, hey, we don't want Johnny Mo calling the plays anymore. I don't think that would happen. I think that they would gently nudge and say, we need to do something different, to your point, that this isn't working. What can we do different? Are we doing something wrong? How can we get better? I could see that going down. This team is too good. And these players are too smart. And I think that they all have their heads on their shoulders. Go ahead.
You just said that these players are too good. This team is too good.
Yeah.
And we have a gauntlet of a schedule coming up. So for us to just have a coach like Dan Campbell is amazing, because if he just sat back and did nothing and the offense stayed stagnant, what if we won that game last night 21-18? We won it by 3 points.
I'm good. I'm happy.
That we won. You're happy that we won, but what kind of confidence does that give you going into the Eagles game next week? If the Eagles win 41-10 tomorrow or tonight,
that wouldn't give me a ton of
confidence
at all. We should have. Look, in the NFL, there's two things that that you have to do, right? Number one, let me get out of studio mode for a second. Number one, you need to completely slaughter the teams that are bad. If you don't take care of the teams that are bad, like the Commanders team was bad. I mean, defense was terrible. They had a ton of injuries. They don't even have their quarterback. If you beat that team by 3 points, yep, I'm taking the win. But to your point, on the backside, I'm like, I don't know about these Eagles. Like, if we can't beat the Commanders by 10 or more, and that's why, what was my prediction? 31-20? I expected a 10-point win. I didn't expect a 20-point win, but they did it. And honestly, it could have been more than 20 points or 22 points, whatever it was. I think they let them have, a couple of plays there at the end. But yeah, I think you're right on about that. I want to go into recap the keys to the game because I got it out so late. Not a whole lot of people were able to see it, but I just want to recap some of the things that we talked about last week and some of the things that I thought were going to be important for this game. So let me bring that in real quick. And then I want to go back to Dan Campbell and hear what he had to say, because I think that's the biggest part of this week is is what he had to say after the game. It was tough. It was tough because he did not want to talk about that. You could tell.
Oh, yeah.
But he knew it was coming. This week's Keys of the Game brought to you by YOOPERLITES. Make sure you guys visit YOOPERLITES.com after the show. Get your Eric will let you know. I don't know if you're doing anything for Thanksgiving or the Black Friday deals or anything.
Black Friday. We're going to have all sorts of stuff coming out. I have new lights. I have all sorts of new stones, new sculptures, all sorts of really cool stuff coming up for the I usually do like a whole week full of sales. I usually start like on Monday or Tuesday before Thanksgiving and have like 10 or 15 days with something on sale every day, a price you will never get any other time of year.
So make sure you guys get in there, man. Fill up those stocking stuffers for your favorite rock hounding partner.
Yeah, you want something really cool for a Christmas gift, that gift for someone that has everything, then go to YOOPERLITES.com, get yourself a little mini flashlight and a stone.
The gift that keeps on giving, right?
Yes, it's the gift that they can show off to everyone, and it's something they don't have. So I have the perfect gift for that person that has everything.
All right. Where the offense failed last week, and this, again, we spoke about this a little bit throughout the week. The number one, the protection breakdowns. The interior line injuries obviously had left Goff exposed at times, but forcing the hurried throws was a big problem against the Vikings. It was killing the timing of this offense. Both you and I pointed out that the most important thing going into this Commanders game was making sure that we were able to protect Goff, but by mixing up the protections and by bringing in 6-man, 7-man protection options, and the Lions did that last night. Now, I haven't had a chance to go through and watch all of the tape, but I watched a little bit from 5 to 5:30 this morning, and they were bringing in 2 tight ends more often, extra linemen, and clearly they were mixing up the protections, and they did an excellent job at keeping Jared Goff clean. He took a couple of hits, took a couple of nasty ones, but I think that was more Goff's fault than anybody's holding on to the football a little bit. Conservative play calling. Like this one, man, too many second down runs into stack boxes, leading to third down long situations. The Lions are ranking just 25th in third down conversions at 36%, man. You can't do that. Last night, the Lions had 10 third downs, and get this, they had 10 third downs on 9 possessions, if the numbers are right. Wow. Now, what I noticed in NFL Pro is I thought I saw 9 and 9, but even if it's 10, you had 1 third down per possession. That's insane to me. That you got to 1 third down and you got back to first down. They were going from first to first to first, barely getting into second down, but when they did, they went from second to first again.
Yep.
That's how you call a game. And this is one of the main reasons why Johnny Mo's offense was not working. How about this one? The vertical inefficiency. The Lions were not getting vertical with the ball. I'm not talking about just deep shots, but at least just giving these guys an opportunity and targeting some more vertical routes. Here's what's nuts, though. Jared Goff has actually attempted more vertical shots this year than ever before in Detroit. That number's a little bit skewed. So when you look at what plays they're calling, what plays they're not calling, I think it lends to the credibility that when you're calling less plays, you're too many 3 and outs, this number is going to be skewed a little bit. It's going to be higher than what it really is, in my opinion. But I think the numbers back it up. I know the numbers back it up. But 14.2% of attempts this year in vertical shots is highest as a Lion. But the issue is a 44.1% completion rate is second lowest in 5 seasons. That needs to change, and it changed last night. Jared Goff was dialing it up. How about the play action decline? Right? Usage has dropped from last season. It's robbed this offense of our best tool for explosive plays. Now, I dialed in play action last night, or this morning. Play action, I think I put third down, and we only ran play action 1 time, I think, on third down. I need to go back, obviously, and look at it to see how many times we actually ran play action last night. I know it was more than once. What needed to change? These were my keys this week, man. Recommit to play action. Passing more, 2nd and 7+. So we need to, if we're on second down, you got to pass the football. Avoid those predictable runs into the stack boxes. Quit leaving the Lions in third and long situations. Dan didn't do that. He did everything that he needed to do last night to avoid those situations. Use max protection concepts. What a concept, right? Put some max protection back there. We don't need 5 weapons on every play. We are just fine with Gibbs out of the backfield taking the angle routes. We are just fine with J-Mo on the outside and Amon-Ra in the slot and Sam Laporta as a tight end. Even if he has to stay back and block, we are just fine with 3 or 4 options on every play. We don't always need 5. Feature Gibbs more on the perimeter runs and angle routes. That was his first touchdown last night. That quick pass was kind of an angle route slant to Jahmyr Gibbs. That was the first touchdown of the night. So I wrote this yesterday, morning, or I released it yesterday afternoon or something like that. But to see the Lions do that, I can't tell you how happy I was to finally see us using the things that we're good at. Lean on Laporta, man. He's your safety valve. Too many times we are not going to him in the middle of the field. When Jared Goff goes through all of his progressions and he's not able to get back to Laporta is a twofold problem. One, you're getting to Laporta too late. He should be earlier in the progression, tree. And 2, the protection was not allowing Jared Goff time to get back to Laporta. So putting him on the verticals and the seam routes, it showed up last night big time. Again, max protection on deep shots to J-Mo, obviously punishing Washington's deep depleted corners. All of these things were happening. I thought Morton was calling the game. Obviously, he must call this game differently. Well, we did because it wasn't Morton. One of my biggest keys, man, exploit that secondary, right? Utilize St. Brown on the option routes versus the nickel. Laporta on the seams and crossers against Wagner. Williams on the vertical shots off play action. And then if protection holds, Goff is going to pick apart this defense, and he did. Unlock this vertical game. Had to happen. This is key number 2 for me. What was going wrong? Protection issues, timing with receivers. Everything is off because of this. And then the play calling shift. Under John Morton, play action usage had dipped from Ben Johnson's system. It's been robbing Goff of the rhythm and spacing that made vertical shots more efficient. What was the one thing that J-Mo just said, Eric? When you're going up against the match style of defense that the Commanders were utilizing, you have to be able to run away and separate yourself away from these DBs. He did that last night, didn't he?
Oh, hell yeah.
So why all this mattered? Number 1, secondary injuries. They were depleted last night. You have to take advantage of it. The stress point is the vertical routes. It stresses out their safeties, which are forced to cover more ground in cover 3 and quarters looks. What they ran quite a bit last night. When you mix it in, the run game sets up the play pass, and the play pass counters the run game. Both will open up the deep game, and you notice that last night. It's not like we're going downfield a ton, but you're doing it at the right time. And I think that's the most important part. My bigger key, let the damn ball fly. Just let it fly. You've got to take some shots, man. Detroit could really exploit this option last night by utilizing max protection on play action, condensed splits, and motion to isolate Williams or Laporta downfield, and they did exactly that. Reignite play action. I don't think I need to pound that anymore. With second down, this was a big one last night. Win second down to fix third down. They did just that. Detroit's third down struggles are glaring. 36.3% conversion rate, 25th in the league. Too often we are facing 3rd and 7 plus because second down is wasted on low percentage runs. How many times do we just run the ball on 3rd and long? Like, that is such a low percentage play. Why are we doing that? I get it if you're in an position to go for it on 4th down, but sometimes we weren't even in a position to go for it on 4th down. Washington's defense was allowing 6.4 yards per play on 2nd and long. If we couldn't take advantage of that, we didn't deserve to win this game. The adjustment for me, pass more on 2nd down. And I'll come back today with a video and explain exactly what I seen in the tape. And yes, I promise we will do a tape review. I was just sick all weekend. Still not feeling the greatest, but I'll get it done early in the week because I got more meds I got to do this week again. RPO glance routes, they were there, and Gibbs angle routes was key last night. Laporta as a safety valve, aim to create 3rd and 3rd, or 3rd and 3 or 3rd and 4 situations where our short yardage menu starts to open up, and man, did it open up last night. Key 3rd down efficiency, key number 5, the last key for the offense. We have to sustain drives. It's critical to keep the playmakers involved in this game. And, man, it was almost a damn near perfectly called game. I don't know of one play that I would have taken back last night. defensively, look, I didn't have a lot for this game. I think it was pretty clear that Marcus Mariota, you have to make him uncomfortable. And the reason why is because, believe it or not, Mariota was dealing a pretty damn good game. And had he been given a few more opportunities, or we were not stressing him enough last night, he could have continued to hurt us. Now, this was a game where the Commanders were trailing for all but 6 minutes, and Marcus Mariota threw for 213 yards and 2 touchdowns, completed 16 of 22 passes last night. He was averaging, get this, 12.8 yards per attempt. That's huge. His second longest pass depth and the 6th highest mark by any quarterback in a game this season. Mariota completed 6 of 10 downfield passes that were 10-plus air yards for 157 yards, including 3 of 6 on deep throws, which were 20-plus yards for 108 yards last night. So that's what happened in game. This is what I saw before the game. Mariota isn't Jaden Daniels, but he's dangerous in his own way. He rushed for 122 yards and a touchdown since taking over in week 3, and he's comfortable in RPO and play action concepts. Detroit entered the week with 28 sacks. We were second in the NFL. I know we didn't get a bunch of numbers last night, but we'll get into that in a moment.
Still got a few sacks, though.
Yeah, but last night wasn't about the sacks. It was containing, because this is why. Contain and make him uncomfortable. The Lions did that, right? So our defensive plan, in my opinion, before the game was maintain the rush lane integrity. We did that for the majority of the night. I think Mariota had one escape alley that was pretty big, and he took it. Use a spy at times on key downs, key third downs primarily. Rotate late in the coverage, right? You want to muddy up those first reads. Force him into third and long, where his efficiency starts to drop. He is very physical as a runner, so tackling discipline was a major emphasis last night, and our tackling hasn't been great at times. But pressure Mariota, contain his mobility, and prevent the horizontal play extension and yak damage. It was key last night, again, to do all of these things because of the way that he was playing. Had we not, he was dialing it up. That game could have went in either direction last night, Eric, if we were not staying steadfast in our defensive plan. And I think the Lions did just that. If you would like to check out these breakdowns every week and you haven't found it just yet, you just go to www.detroitfootballjournal.com. It is free to join, so when it says to put your email in and join, that's how you get the notifications. That's how you have access to Substack and my website. But it is free. Everything that gets put out is free to look at in the beginning, but it does go to a paywall after a couple of weeks. Would appreciate it if you guys would take a look at it. And subscribe, man. Be part of the Detroit Football Journal. It's going to grow. I'm really early into the stages of building this thing, but it is going to be a pretty full website when I'm all done with it, and then it'll transition over to a regular website again like I used to have. But www.detroitfootballjournal.com.
We got a $5 super chat from Donnie M. Said, did Jared Goff kill any plays? I didn't hear it like I usually do. I saw it on at least 2 occasions last night where he did the kill, where they were touching the helmets and stuff.
The bullhorns?
Yeah, I did see it, but just not on every single play like when Johnny Morton was calling the plays.
Yeah, like every play.
Yeah.
Like every play.
He was killing it every freaking play.
And, that didn't help us because sometimes the second play wasn't as good as, or any better than the first. Yeah. So, all right, let's get into the chat. It's just about 9 o'clock, so we're going to open up the phones here in just a moment.
Oh, all right. We haven't done that in a while.
Yeah, big shout out to, who was that? Donnie M. Thank you. Appreciate your $5 super chat. And, like Eric said, I don't know. I didn't see him as much. I guess just like Eric said, I didn't see him as much. But
I saw a couple, though. I did see a couple.
I'll figure that out later on today when I watch the rest of the tape.
I remember the one because we were down inside the 10-yard line. We were at like the 9-yard line. And he killed to that play. And that's when, who was it? Gibbs? Who got the 9-yard touchdown? Was it Gibbs or J-Mo?
On the pass?
Yeah.
Well, Gibbs had one to open it up, and I think that was 12 yards.
Yeah, there was a 9-yarder, and that was the one that Goff killed it.
Let's
I did see one play yesterday where I think the Lions could make a small adjustment and they could really, really get J-Mo involved.
That was St. Brown, by the way. That was St. Brown on the 9.
Oh, that was St. Brown, yeah. So J-Mo ran a route where he ran straight down the middle of the field, and he took a safety with him and a corner with him. And he went to the end zone while everybody else kind of curled in. And I think that was the one that Goff ended up taking a sack. But if J-Mo would have done a comeback route, he would have been wide open in the middle of the field, down about 15, 20 yards down the field.
A deep cross.
And I'm wondering why they don't have J-Mo run a fake deep route and a comeback. So I think that is a missed opportunity. And that's like the only thing I saw yesterday that was a real glaring, to me, missed opportunity out there was that, hey, maybe you should have J-Mo kind of run back on one of these routes, run the wrong direction. I think
he was probably used as the decoy. So where did the ball end up going? I don't know which player you're talking about.
I think he ended up taking a sack on the play.
Oh, okay.
Because nobody got open. But in the middle of the field there was nothing. The middle of the field was not a single player. Everybody went left or everybody went right, and J-Mo ran straight down the middle. Took a couple guys with him. But if he puts the brakes on and comes back the other way, man, wide open in the middle of the field with nobody there, and Goff would have had time to get him the ball.
It's funny because I don't go out to watch games, and yesterday I wasn't feeling it, but I wanted to eat, so we went up to Russo's up the road here.
Yeah,
grabbed some pizza, and so we're watching the game. It was first half, and I'm like, middle of the field's wide open for Laporta. I'm like, they've got to be going to Laporta here. And the play goes to Laporta, and he has a big play, and he turns it into a first down. Everybody at the bar looked at me like, how the hell did you know that? And I'm like, it's just what I would do. Like, it's wide open. They're playing man. Sam Laporta, you one-on-one him against any one of those linebackers or safeties, he's going to beat him. And it's exactly what they did. It's just sometimes this offense, if I can see it, is a little bit predictable, but the defense isn't thinking that. You know, they all have their job to do, and it's amazing when you see Dan Campbell take this over and what we are able to do. Everything was on the table last night. He was dealing 5 aces or 4 aces up on every play, it seemed like.
Yeah, Nick P, I'm sorry, I did get that wrong.
It
wasn't a sack. It was I think he just turfed the ball or threw it away or something.
No, I know what you're saying. Yeah. He probably got hit. He probably got taken down, but he did get rid of the ball. I know what you're saying.
Yeah. Almost took a sack. Yeah. Then we got Micro Mike in here today from Lions Talk by Chat Sports. He says, Russo, my buddy, owns the pizza joint.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm good friends with all them. I used to work with all the Uccellos. They're, you know how they're all family. They're all family out here.
Check out that super chat.
Good to see you in here. Greg, what's happening, my man? He says 1999 to all of my brothers in the military. Yeah, I failed yesterday. Is today Veterans Day? Or was it yesterday?
I'm not sure. But it was salute to service.
Yeah, I know it's salute. I knew it was salute to service yesterday.
Yeah, when they showed Johnny Morton up in the booth.
It's tomorrow.
When they showed Johnny Morton up in the booth, he had the cool olive green Lions hoodie and olive green Lions hat on. I got one of those somewhere.
Yeah.
I'll wear it tomorrow. I'll wear it for Veterans Day tomorrow.
Yeah, big shout out to all them. We'll do something special tomorrow for the veterans. I thought I failed. For some reason, I thought it was the other day.
Yeah.
And that's why they were doing salute to service. But it is tomorrow on November 11. We'll do something special for the veterans tomorrow.
Today is the 10th, so today is the anniversary of the Edmund Fitzgerald up here.
Is it?
The Edmund Fitzgerald.
Where's that at up there?
November 10th. It's up at Whitefish Point today. They're having a big ceremony because this is the 50th year, I believe.
What is that? What, Superior, Erie? What, I'm sorry, Superior?
Lake Superior.
Yeah.
The Edmund Fitzgerald.
All right, let's get into Dan Campbell. This is like 12 minutes. We'll break it up. and we'll kind of bounce in and out. As soon as we're done with Dan, I promise we'll open up the phone lines because we want to hear from you. You guys are the most important part of this. Go ahead.
I did find my bold takes from last week, and I did get a couple of them.
Hey, what were they? Go for it.
All right. So the Commanders will miss 10 tackles and will not sack Jared Goff. I don't know the missed tackles, but they did not sack Jared Goff. Number 2.
Did you say 10 missed tackles?
10 missed tackles because they lead the league in missed tackles. They were missing tackles all over yesterday, so I'm sure they hit 10. I'd love to find out. I'm going to have to find out if I hit that one. And then number 2, both Lions running backs will score. Well, if you count the 2-point conversion that David Montgomery got, they both scored.
That's a score.
So I hit that one. Number 3, Jared Goff will not throw an interception. Boom, got that one too. Now the last 3 I did not get. Isaac Tesla will have 5 targets. He only had 2 targets in the game. And then Terry Arnold will get another interception. Nope, he got a concussion instead. And then the Lions defense pitches a shutout. Nah, I didn't get that one either. So 3 out of 6 ain't bad though.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, Terry and Arnold. So let's shift gears before I bring in Dan Campbell.
Yeah, sure.
Injury. The injury report. So TA went out. Was it end of second? End of second quarter. Yeah. So he had a concussion. Not sure that he's going to be up to play this week. I mean, he can still clear protocol and play this week. But I just got to say this, man. This guy, he was playing a hell of a game again. And for him to keep getting all these, I mean, a concussion's not a little injury, but for him to continue to get banged up the way that he is just going through one of those seasons, man, where he's putting it all out there. He made a huge change to his game yesterday. Eric, did you see this? Did you see that from TA yesterday where he did this?
Oh, yeah.
He looked back. Where
he didn't get a flag.
Normally that yellow laundry is all over the field, but he looked back, even though it probably was a little bit of PI. I think they gave him the benefit of the doubt, and that's a big change for him. Just that simple little look back did not create a penalty. But for him to get a concussion yesterday, after he's been playing this good and really been, I think, improving week by week, even after everything that he's battled early in this season and everything that he battled last season, I hate to see the guy get an injury like this because the fan base is continuing to lose confidence in Terry and Arnold. And I'm going to sit here and stand on it all over again. I'm going to say TA is the right guy. He's a great football player. The way that he plays defense is just aggressive. He somehow has to figure out a way to stop the injuries. Unfortunately, you really can't do anything to protect yourself from from happening. But I'll tell you, the way that he covers downfield, I wouldn't want another guy out there. I love the aggressiveness. I don't care about getting a flag here or there. It just can't be at the wrong time. And I think he's been doing a great job at that. But sucks he got another injury. Walk us through the injury report real quick. What happened yesterday?
Yeah, sure. So Detroit Lions cornerback Terry Arnold suffered a concussion in the first half of Sunday's 44-22 win over the Washington Commanders. It's unclear exactly when Arnold was injured, but the second-year pro was spotted walking to the locker room right before halftime without his helmet. With Arnold sidelined, the Lions turned to Rock Ya-Sin on the outside opposite Amik Robertson. Offensive lineman Penei Sewell leg and Graham Glasgow back were banged up in the first half, but both returned to the field. Sewell went to the medical tent and missed a handful of offensive snaps, saying afterward, "It was one of those things where the pain just went away after some time." Glasgow, meanwhile, avoided the tent, though he made his way to the locker room toward the end of the second quarter. He returned to begin the second half. So it looks like both of those guys avoided anything more serious and should be available for the Eagles game.
Well, I'm glad about the offensive line, but we can't continue to go through every week not knowing if we're going to have corners in there. I mean, we've played pretty well. The Legion of Whom has continued to step up. I thought they played a great game last night. Again, I haven't had a chance to go in and break it all down yet. That's usually Tuesday. We'll get a little bit more in depth about the game. Wednesday, we kind of do a little half and half. and kind of finish everything up. That's when all the reports are finally out, and we get some injury reports later on in the afternoon. But Wednesday we do a little bit of half and half, and then start to flip the page on Thursday to the next game. But man, we have a big game this week. We have a huge game coming up against the Eagles, and this is a must-win game. We cannot lay down in this game at all. Without Penei Sewell, without Graham Glasgow or Penei Sewell, that's a game I don't know that we win.
Yeah.
They've got to be in. Go ahead. You were going to say something.
There's also a big game tonight.
Yes.
Because if the Packers hold off and beat the Eagles tonight, that puts them as the number 1 or the number 2 seed in the NFC, and it puts them at number 1 in the NFC North. If they lose, that drops them to the 7 seed and 3rd place in the NFC North behind the Detroit Lions and the 2nd place Bears.
So let me recap that. If the Eagles win tonight, Green Bay goes to 7, Detroit is at 3, Seattle's at 2, the Bears are at 6, LA's at 5, Tampa's at 4. If Green Bay wins, Seattle goes to 1, Bears go to 7, Lions go to 6, Green Bay shoots up to 2, Eagles fall to 3, Tampa Bay is at 4, LA stays at 5.
Yep.
So my question is, who the hell do we want to really win tonight? And I'm beginning to think that I kind of want the Packers to win.
No.
Hold on. Because I think we'll take care of business in the NFC North. But if they beat the Eagles, that puts the Eagles lower on the totem pole for the end of the season. They're still going to probably be in the playoffs, just winning their division, right? But I'd rather not have to fight them for the 1 seed. I'd rather have to fight our own division for the 1 seed.
No. I agree with everyone in the chat right now. FTP, I am never, ever going to root for the green and gold.
Okay.
Never, ever. I don't care who it's against or what it does for my team. I don't care.
Okay,
my
you know what?
For that team knows no bounds.
All right, you've
you guys did this last year.
No, you pushed
too.
me. You pushed me too far now. Now we got to do it. I got to bring in the playoff predictor. We don't normally do this on Monday. Now we have to go through it and we have to see. Yeah, because come on, Eric. Because
I'm getting all sorts of thank you, Erics, in the chat. Yeah,
but here's the
kind of
thing:
people.
what if the Packers win and then this screws us at the end of the season? That's
It
what
ain't
I.
gonna screw us. No, it's not gonna screw us because we're gonna take care of business next week and we're gonna beat the Eagles. That's why.
Yeah, but if we beat the Eagles,
if the Eagles win tonight,
but you got to understand,
the Eagles next week, that puts us ahead of them.
I get that, but I don't care about next week. I care about week 18. And if the Packers have 1 game more than us, they win.
Yeah, but we want the Packers to lose.
But if they have 1 more game than us, then I'm sorry, if the Eagles have 1 more game than us, then they win. They get the number 1 seed. I'd rather have the 1 seed. I know a lot of people were saying they didn't care about having the 1 seed. I care about having the 1 seed because if we're in the 6th or any other seed, that's not going to help us.
Thank you, chat. That's all I got to say. Thank you.
All right, let's see. Let's it's all good. It's all good, haters. It's all good. Let's see what really would happen though. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. I could be totally wrong here, so let's do this. Whoa, hey.
And, okay, so tonight the over/under on this game is 1.5 points in favor of the Green Bay Packers. And I looked at the initial point spread for the Lions at the Eagles. And guess what? The Eagles are a 1.5 point favorite. So both these games are pick'ems. So the home team gets an automatic 3 points for being the home team, especially when they're a good team like the Eagles, the Packers, or the Lions. So I think if you put this game at Ford Field next week, the Lions are a 3.5 to a 4.5 point favorite. I think the Lions would be favored if they played at Detroit. So
All right,
I guess that would be a 2.5 point favorite.
I'm going to run through this. I'm going to run through it real quick. So some of these may or may not stick, but
yeah,
I'm just going to run through these real quick. I'm going to say the Eagles beat the Cowboys. I'm already into week 12.
Oh, come on.
here.
The Cowboys are going
Atlanta.
to beat them. Because after we beat them.
Tampa. I'll give Tampa the win over LA for the hell of it. San Fran will win. So just so you
know about those divisional games.
All right, so week 10, here's what I did. I gave Green Bay the win over Philly. I gave, obviously, we had the win over Commanders. Week 11, Green Bay. I got Green Bay over New York. Right, I have us over the Eagles. That's the only thing that really matters. I got Seattle winning. Week 12.
But the thing about the Giants, if they get their quarterback back, I think they beat the Packers. The Packers are frauds. The Packers lost to Carolina. The Packers lost to the Browns. They tied the Cowboys. The Packers are not as good as everyone thinks.
Yeah, but right now I'm giving them wins because we need to flush this all out. I don't think they're going to beat New York. Indy, only thing that matters is we both win in week 12. Week 13, Lions win again. We'll say Dallas upsets KC. Baltimore wins. We'll say Philly beats Chicago. LA, San Fran, Indy.
I'm not saying we're going to win every game for the rest of the season. We probably drop one or two more.
Didn't you have this game as a loss?
Which one?
The Commanders game. Did you have this one as a loss?
No, I actually, in the beginning of the season, I had this one as 33-14 for the Lions, and then I had us losing to Philly, but I'm switching that because of the Minnesota game.
Well, you can't switch. You got to go.
Well, no, I'm just saying I've been wrong about one of the games or two of the games so far this year. I've only been wrong on two games this whole year.
I think I've been wrong on 3 or 4.
Yeah, I've only had 2 wrong. Oh no, 3 because we beat Baltimore. But I've got the right amount of wins through this part of the season so far.
I'll say Jacksonville upsets Colts.
Yeah, the only other game I had us losing for the rest of the season was LA. Because I have us at 13.
I honestly don't know how Miami is still winning games, to be honest with you. I mean, what a crazy game.
They crushed them. And you know what? Every week for the last 3 or 4 weeks, any team that is favored by the biggest margin of the week and they are on the road, they have lost.
I wonder why. I wonder where all the bets are going.
Exactly. Well, 98% of the bets were on the Lions yesterday. So
yeah, I'm surprised. I mean, look, I think that the refs did a pretty good job last night. What do you think?
Dude, that was our cleanest game of the year because I was just looking. Where did it go here? So penalties, man, these new glasses, it's really hard to see. We had 3 penalties on the day yesterday for 1 yard.
We had 3 penalties for 1 yard?
That's it.
That's a pretty good game, man. But what about Washington? Yeah. I don't remember how many they had.
Eight penalties for 61 yards and an ejection. And we haven't really talked about the ejection at all.
No.
And maybe we should talk about that after we get done with your playoff predictor there.
Yeah, I'm almost done. I mean, you can start talking about it. Here's what I'll do. Well, I'll do this in the background. Go ahead and bring up what you want. I don't want to waste everybody's time, but go ahead and I'll bring this back up in a minute.
So Daron Payne was kicked out of the game for punching Amon-Ra St. Brown. Amon-Ra St. Brown's just standing there. He walks up to him, and Amon-Ra, you can see he clinched, and the guy he cold-cocks him.
Mm-hmm.
Just a big roundhouse punch right to the helmet. And he's lucky he didn't hit him in the jaw or hit him in the throat. What if Amon-Ra was out for the season because of that? This guy better get a suspension. And it better be for more than 1 game because that was intentionally trying to hurt him. And I don't care what Amon-Ra said to him. You cannot throw punches. Now, Kinlaw, the guy at the end of the game, the other one that got a flag right after that, and that's the reason we kicked it out of bounds and got it to the 25, which was very smart.
Yeah, I'm an idiot. Yesterday, I put that in the chat, like, what are we doing? And I didn't realize it would only go to the 25, so I was dumb. That was a smart move.
Yeah, it was really smart. And I give that all to Dave Phipp because he saw the 49ers do it the week before, and he did it also because he pays attention to what other teams are doing. And so anyway, I think his name is Kinlaw, after the game said that Amon-Ra threw the first punch. Well, all the video evidence, everything they show everywhere on the internet does not show Amon-Ra throw a punch whatsoever. Just shows him standing there and gets punched. Well, I don't know if they're not showing all of it or what, but I would be very interested in seeing an unedited all of it.
Yeah, so here's the thing. I mean, I'll look at it. Trace tried to send me some stuff this morning, and I don't know if she was trying to send me the other tape or the film that showed Amon-Ra, trying to punch him. I sorry, Trace, I was busy this morning, so I don't remember if that's what you were trying to send me. But what Kinlaw said was, yeah, for sure, quote, yeah, for sure, and they saw it too. Said that it's some bullshit, 100%, saying that Amon-Ra punched him. And they're saying that he retaliated. There was definitely not a punch thrown by Amon-Ra St. Brown in that moment. But what I had said is,
before.
Yeah, what happened before? Was it another play? Was it in a scrum? Like where did it happen? Was it a little rabbit punch in the pile? That stuff happens every week. I just don't see Amon-Ra doing something like that. But he was chirping. He was chirping at someone the entire game.
Yeah.
So,
well, did you see it after that play too, where Kinlaw went and got up in Goff's face across the line of scrimmage in the offensive huddle?
Mm-hmm.
He's not allowed to be over there.
No.
How was that not a flag?
That should have been flagged too.
And it should have been unsportsmanlike conduct.
Yep.
You don't do that to the opposing quarterback after a play on the opposite side on the over the line of scrimmage. You can't be over there for one.
Yeah, I can't wait to rewatch all. I can't wait to rewatch all the tape. Hopefully, I'll be able to see it all. That they don't edit something out. It's just going to take me a while to get through the entire game. As
I
opposed to watching
DVR every single Lions game.
They still have those things?
Oh yeah, I have a DVR. DirecTV, man.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
electronically.
I don't know. I don't know how it does it. It's got a hard drive on it. I got an old one, so I rewatch every game.
I just use the NFL Pro account. It has it all on there for you.
Oh yeah, I could do that too. But on my DVR, I always keep all the games, and then in the off season, I'll sit and rewatch them. But I watch every game 2, 3, 4 times, just to try to go back and. Because when you're watching it live, you're watching where the ball's going. You're not watching the guy out wide. You're not watching the offensive line. You're not paying attention to a lot of things. And now I go back and I look at specific plays and look at specific things. And then like last night, I rewound to exactly when that happened with Kinlaw. And I watched everything. I mean, everything that they showed. So they didn't show it live. They showed it 2 plays later. This is what happened and why he got ejected.
Yeah.
Because they didn't know, because they were talking and they were showing the celebration and all this stuff from the touchdown. They didn't show any of that live. You only got to see what they showed you afterward. And it was only a portion of it where Amon-Ra standing there and the guy goes and punches him. That's all they show.
So here's some of the statements from what happened last night. And to your point, yes, if Brian Branch is going to get suspended for a game for punching someone, absolutely he should be suspended for at least one game. The precedent was set, so it has to be one game. Branch didn't have any priors, but last night their safety from Washington, Quan Martin, was also flagged on the very next drive for unsportsmanlike conduct. And he said this, quote, "I'm not sure why I was flagged. I was pulled to the ground, kicked in the nuts, and it was a flag on me. You could tell I was upset from being kicked in the nuts intentionally right in front of the refs." I didn't see it. I didn't look. I haven't looked for it, so I don't know. So there's that. That was after. That was after the play. That was after the Kinlaw.
That was his own player that kicked him in the nuts. I remember watching that play yesterday.
Interesting. All right, here's your final Here's your final.
All right.
Okay. So
there you go. See,
well,
Lions number 1 seed.
Hold on. Let's go to week 10. This is with Green Bay winning. Okay. This is with Green Bay winning versus the Eagles. But the rest of the weeks, I have Green Bay, Philly, and the Lions winning in every week. Green Bay. Nope. I'm sorry. Besides the Lions, we beat Philly in week 11. Detroit wins. Philly wins. Green Bay wins in every week besides when we go head to head. So Detroit has to beat Green Bay. Philly has to beat the Bears. Week 14, we have to beat the Cowboys. Green Bay has to beat Chicago. Philly has to beat LA.
Oh.
Week 15, Eagles have to beat Las Vegas. Lions have to beat the Rams. Green Bay has to beat Denver. So that could be a loss too to Denver.
All right. This from Adam Schefter.
Hold on. Let me keep going here. Green Bay has to beat Chicago. Philly has to beat Washington. Detroit has to beat Pittsburgh. Week 17, Lions have to beat the Vikings. Green Bay has to beat Baltimore. Philly has to beat Buffalo. And then week 18, Lions have to beat Chicago. Eagles have to beat Washington. And where's the Green Bay game? There they are. They have to beat the Vikings. So I predicted 14-3. If the Lions finished 14-3 and the Lions beat all of their head-to-heads with Green Bay and Philly, and then Green Bay and Philly win all of their games for the rest of the season, then the Lions would finish out at number 1. I also had San Francisco and the Bucks winning in every week, and I had LA, I think, losing one game. But I'm going to go in Seattle. I had them winning every game. So if we win out, we should be number 1. We should be. And the way that this gets screwed up is if we drop a game. Because what if we drop a game in, let's say we lose to Minnesota. Well, now we're the 5th seed. Well, let's go back to week 10 and have Philly win. Now we jump up to the number 3 seed. It's a big difference, right? If Green Bay beats us, now we're the 5th seed. If Philly wins, we're the number 3 seed. And then Green Bay's down to the 5th seed. So each win matters opponent-wise. And that's why it's so important. You know, we'll go through this every week. This is not what I plan to go through today like this, but we'll go through it every week. Usually Wednesdays-ish, we'll do this. We'll do the playoff predictor. So that's why I'm saying, like, I'm not sold on Green Bay just losing. I think that we have to look at the long term of each schedule and where are the wins and losses potentially going to come from. Where is that going to position the Lions on the teams that we must beat in case we do have some injuries that stack up? I mean, Eric, let's be real. We don't want to just be in the dance, do we?
Honestly, I don't care.
Well, how many times has a 4th, 5th, 6th, or 7th seed won a Super Bowl?
When we went 12-5, we won 2 playoff games.
I don't great,
care.
But
I just want in.
I get that, but
I don't care where we got to go. I don't care if we got to go to Philly. I don't care if we got to go to Tampa. This team is built for it. I don't care. Just get in. That's it. Just get in.
And I would say that that's a great theme to just get in to try to win. Usually that works in March Madness.
I like the number 1 seed too. It gives you a much, much, much better chance of winning it all.
Here's the letter of the law. 3 teams have won a Super Bowl as a 5th, 6th, or 7th seed.
Yes.
3. Are we that rare of a team to go in and win a Super Bowl as a 5th, 6th, or 7th seed?
Maybe.
Yeah, I don't think so.
No.
I don't think so. Especially with the injuries that we have. And the unfortunate situation is the health of this team it's at the ultimate test right now because of our offensive line. If they're not healthy, like that is the catalyst. That's the engine of this team. Without this offensive line being healthy as they can be, we're in trouble. right?
But I'm not going to say we're done for if we're not the 2, 3, or 4 seed.
No, I wouldn't say we're done, but I would say that it's a much harder fight to go on the road. I mean, I love the way we play away, honestly. I mean, just like you. I love the way we play.
I'm not going to be disappointed if we end up being the 2, 3, or 4 seed. If it's the Eagles number 1 and we're number 2 or number 3, fine. I'm fine with that. We get at least one home game, and maybe that number 1 seed will lose in the divisional round. Maybe we get 2 home games. You never know.
Well, so, if we win the NFC North, we're guaranteed the 4th spot.
Yeah.
So it's either 1. There's no other way. We have to win the NFC North. It's either 1 or 4 for me.
Yeah.
That's the only 2 positions that I'll accept. But even at number 4, I'm still not overly excited. You were going to bring something in from Schefter?
Yeah. So Trace got this to me. Adam Schefter just released this. This is from the NFL. Daron Payne suspended 1 game. Washington Commanders defensive lineman Daron Payne has been suspended without pay for 1 game for an act of unsportsmanlike conduct during Sunday's game against the Detroit Lions.
Good.
During the second quarter, Payne was disqualified for striking Amon-Ra St. Brown, a violation of Rule 12, Section 3, Article 1, which applies to any act which is contrary to be generally understood principles of sportsmanship. So Payne will be eligible to return to the Commanders' active roster on Monday, November 17th, following the team's November 16th game in Madrid against the Miami Dolphins. Under the collective bargaining agreement, Payne may appeal the suspension. Any appeal will be heard and decided upon by either Derek Brooks, Raymond Foster, or Jordy Nelson, the hearing officers jointly appointed and compensated by the NFL and NFLPA to decide appeals of on-field player discipline.
So let's see if it's Jordy Nelson.
Yeah.
Not that really matters for a Washington player.
Wouldn't that be that would just be the ultimate slap in the face if it's Jordy Nelson and he overturns it and gives him a fine.
I would be livid. Then you know that this thing is cooked.
Yep.
The books are cooked. All right, let's get into Dan Campbell. He had a lot to say last night. He was kind of getting peppered about this whole offensive change. Phone lines will be open right now. I'll keep them open. I'm just not going to answer the phone during the video. I promise the last 15 minutes we'll take phone calls. I don't know if anyone wants to call. Is Rob E1's in here? Does he want to call in today? Raw, let me know if you want to call in. All right, let's get into Dan Campbell. Man, it feels good on a Monday being a winner, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It feels good.
And I get it, people in the chat.
There he goes. Hold on.
Oh, there we go.
Shit, did I even have it open yet? Hold on, Raw. Hold on.
Let's do it. I hear him.
Hold on. There it is. There you go. Good morning. Good morning, Raw.
Hello, good morning.
Oh, no, it's Stephanie. I'm sorry.
You, Mr. Eric, and Mr. Rock. Oh yes, I had called last night. And yes, I did share my thoughts about the winning on the Lions last night.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, clarified that you had called me Stephanie instead of Heather.
Heather, yeah.
Day.
I keep calling. I have your name comes up as Stephanie for some reason, and I don't know why.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, this is Heather, yeah, and yes, I'm looking forward to see Green Bay lose tonight so that way the Lions could be number 1. And like I said, I am so happy for our team, and we're back where we were supposed to be doing, and stop all of this bad plays and overthrow and pass interference, all of that stuff. I'll tell you one thing, I have to agree to both of you. When we play against the Eagles, we will stay on top on Sunday of next week. And what Goff needs to do is pay attention. Not only him, everybody needs to pay attention what they're supposed to be doing, because the Eagles try to run over everybody.
Yeah, well, they're not doing it against the Lions, that's for sure.
Oh yeah. So that's why I call to let you know that that I know last night. You said Stephanie. I said, this is Heather.
I just changed it. Heather. Hey, thanks for the call in. We're gonna get to Dan Campbell, but thank you. We'll talk to you next week during the game or after the game.
Already then.
All right,
Go blue.
Yeah, take care.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye. All right, I got her name changed now.
There we go.
All right, Raw, you calling in now, or you want to call in after the Dan Campbell?
They said he was itching to call in.
We'll give you 30 seconds if you want to call in now. Otherwise, we'll wait till Dan Campbell. Either way, he always shares a lot of good levity about the game and his perspectives. I think he does a great job at making some good notes during the game, man. He clearly knows football. It's always good to hear from Raw. There's some football knowers in this chat, man. This is it's such a great chat, man. It's an adult hangout, you know.
Mike P's on it too, I'll tell you that.
Oh yeah, Mike P knows. He's a former coach.
Yep.
Yeah, he's a former coach. And someone just said ads are killing you. Ads should be dialed way back. Let me make an adjustment here. There we go. All right, we'll go to Dan Campbell, and then we'll catch you on the flip side of Dan Campbell there, Raw. Why does that look like that? It's not supposed to look like that.
But it look.
Nope. Not supposed to look like that. Oh, come on. Hold on. Where'd it go?
Hold the phone.
Come on, man. I just had this set. All right, let me fix it. I think I'm just going to go to screen captures from now on because the window captures are broken on my PC, apparently. Something's not holding the information. Or it could just be me. Sorry, Dan, I got to cut you off a little bit.
He's used to it.
All right, here we go. Dan Campbell.
Good to see our guys respond. You know, I'm not surprised. I knew they'd be ready to go. That's just what they do. We got the right guys, man. They, you could feel it all week. Just the intensity, the focus. They wanted to get back in the win column. Cleaned a lot of little things up. You know, defensively to handle the tempo that they had and played with over there. You know, that's not easy if you don't see that all the time. They do, a lot of different things, man. They're under center, they're in the gun. Mariota can run, the RPO, the boot, then back to under center, and then you get in heavy, and they run the keepers, then the wide zone, then the gap. So anyway, and all of that is really kind of on the ball. So, I thought we handled it pretty well. I really did. So it was good. Offensively, Goff was outstanding. There was really nobody that didn't play at a high level right now that I can think of. I thought J-Mo showed up, man. St. Brown, Gibbs, obviously, Laporta. That old line, man, stepped up. Got us the run game going, protected Goff. It was great, man. It was good to see. Yodi stepped in there, and we didn't miss a beat, man. He brings us a level of consistency. So fired up there. Special teams was better. I know we got hit on one, but we were much better across the board, and that's much more our style of football. So, proud of the guys. Good win. I can't see. I can't see anymore.
But you talked about some changes coming. Just talk about it. It appeared as if you were calling players. What was the mindset behind changing things up, and what are you calling the players?
Yeah, it was just let's try something a little different, right? And look, I know what I want to do. I know how I want to do it. Now, that being said, this is a collaborative effort now. I was taking input from John Morton that whole time and the other coaches. So, hey, man, what do you think here? Third down. All right, we get into this. 3rd and 7 plus, blah, 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 blah. All right, where are we at? Give me the. So, this is all encompassing. Man, we all work together. Coaches did a hell of a job. But I just wanted to change it up a little bit. Let's just see if maybe a different play caller can maybe get us a little rhythm. That's all. And it honestly is nothing more than that. You know, I know you're probably going to want to ask questions about, well, what about this, or I heard this. It's not that. This was a change. We made a change that was good for today.
When did you decide to make that change? And what was that conversation like with John?
Yeah, it was last week. Really, whatever, after the game, day after the game, and look, it was honest. It was he and I, and we were good. And it's like I told him, man, I need you. I need you, and but I feel like this is something that I'm going to do. And listen, John Morton's all team, man. That's all he cares about. He just wants to win. He wants to be a part of it. He wants to help where he can, and he was outstanding today. And he's done nothing. He's a grinder. He's a worker, and he just tries to help and give you anything that you can possibly need for the game. So it was. Look, if you're him, of course it probably doesn't feel too good. But he's also, man, he's a pro, and he understands everything. And so we move on. And there was no guarantee that anything was going to change today. But look, the guys did a hell of a job. Our players were outstanding today.
How was it different than 2021 when you did this?
Well, what do you mean?
I don't know. I mean,
just calling it, you mean?
Yeah, I mean,
the way I call it, or?
With you and John versus what happened with you and
Oh yeah, no. Listen, I like John. That's what I'm saying. Like John is vital to me. All right, he gives me critical information that deals with the pass game, and that number one is his baby, man. That's his bread and butter. It's one of the things he does well, and so, man, I think that's the best I can say, man. He's good. I'm glad he's here. This is not, I don't know what you want me to say. I know how the other one ended, but that's. Listen, man, this is where I'm at, and he's in a great spot. He can help me out today, and
maybe you can explain them the rhythm that you found, I guess, what you call them, that the offense found with your voice and yours, that said, and kind of what else you meant, in terms of the creativity or some of those things that you saw out there.
Well, I just, I think sometimes it gets hard. Look, when you're the head coach and you know how you want it to look, it's one thing to kind of say how you want it to look, but until it's hard to crawl into my head, right? And you have your own vision for it, and sometimes it's all encompassing, man. The way you run the ball, the way you play pass, the way you boot, the drop backs, and you're just trying to hit from all sides, and I just know I have a good feel of our players, and I know what we're capable of. I know what they're capable of, and so I don't know. That's the best way to say it.
What was the key to unlocking J1 today? Did you have him doing anything different?
No, listen, he's been doing a great job. I mean, he's been busting his rear. He does every day. He comes to work. I mean, he grinds on it, man. He has. He's been unbelievable, and we just hadn't connected. And so today, man, we got him going. Golf got him going and made some throws, and he made some big time plays, man. And so it was just good to see, man. His confidence was up, and he's ripping and roaring, and he's very much a part of our guys. I mean, Saint is our lead dog, but I mean, this guy's a catalyst. Gibbs a catalyst. Demo, he's a catalyst. Laporta, and I just thought all those guys showed up for us. But it all starts with that O-line, and they showed up today and delivered for us, which now does everything. Because now Goff can play the game he needs to play, and we can distribute it to our weapons.
What did you see out of Junior Gibbs this week, though? Coming off the performance last week, season role, like a difference in mentality, or what was his mindset?
Now, listen, he's well, I can tell you this: he had a chip on his shoulder. I mean, nobody was more upset about last week than he was. And so he wanted to make things right, and and also wanted to get him more involved in all areas. The run game, the pass game, mix it up a little bit, and so he was ready to go. I mean, he just it was a bad taste in his mouth, like it was all of us last week. Man, that was a hard loss.
Just more guys. offensive line, no sacks, no TFLs. What did you see from them out there today, and how they able to kind of put it back together and rebound?
Yeah, I mean, they just, I thought they played well together. I thought from the first time we ran the ball, you could just see the surge. And so, they were ready to go. Look, they take all that stuff personal too. They're no different than us or anybody else, man. When you lose a game and things don't go your way, man, that's a tough pill to swallow. So you really can't get to the next game fast enough because you want to wrong the right or right the wrong. So they did a great job. They really did. I mean, you could just feel the line of scrimmage move today. And honestly, I feel like you could have called anything today and they were going to make it work. It was, they took it over, man. Guys are unbelievable.
We'll talk about third down a lot.
Last three.
Say it again.
Here and then Sean.
We talked about third down a lot in recent weeks. You started hot. I think you converted the first 5, including 2 3rd and 7s. Just what did you see different about third down today, and just why was it more successful?
Well, we were, for the most part, we were in manageable thirds, and if we weren't, we were trying to get there for 4th and some of these other zones. But, we mixed up the protections. We did a couple of different things. Run game was part of some of that. We took some one-on-ones, like Jamo caught a, one-on-one over there. And so, really it was, we packaged things very much like we have. It just, everything was, we executed today. Guys did a great job, and guys made plays.
Your observations, takeaways, whatever, from having the president of the game, was it something you noticed? Was it mentioned on your sideline?
No, you know what? I didn't. I knew that he was coming to the game. I didn't even know. Like, honestly, and I just didn't know. He was here, right? Yeah, I didn't know. Like, when I'm in this play, I don't even know what's going on around me half the time, So it was either defense is out there or I'm trying to get the plays ready, so I didn't even know. But that's cool. That's cool. Now that I know he was definitely here, that's when you're talking about the president of the United States, that's a big deal.
Sean, last question.
Dan, how much do you enjoy calling plays, and did you consider this after Ben left?
I did. I did. Thought about it long and hard. I knew the hard thing is, I enjoy it, but I also know, man, it's going to require a lot of, it's going to require a lot of me. And so that's the holdback is that, wherever your resources go, then you're losing them somewhere else. That's the hard thing. That's the reality of a head coach who calls plays too, or is part of the offense. But it's like anything else. When you do it, you adjust. You adjust and you start figuring out what you need to do, how you need to do it, become more efficient, and and it's really ultimately about what's right for the team, always. And it doesn't matter, nothing else matters. And so, I feel good with where we're at. I wasn't perfect. Golf bailed me out of some stuff today. But, I like the setup of the staff, and I think the players are in a good place, and I think we can grow from here. I really do.
All right, the fearless leader, man, Dan Campbell. Let me recap this just a little bit. I don't know if you made any notes, but I got a laundry list of notes that I just made. Some of this stuff I kind of went over this morning. I'm going to start right up at the top. He said the guys were itching to get back and play ball. I said it this morning. Eric, you echoed the same thing. This team looked different. The energy was different. They played with a certain level of, what's that word? Je ne sais quoi? No, that's the wrong word. But they played with a certain level of intensity today, or last night, that I think has been unmatched this season. Maybe the Chicago Bears game, you could say that, they kind of played with this similar level of intensity. I thought that they were just on it from the first snap. The first whistle, they got to it. He did mention about Mariota, some of the same things that I mentioned in the keys to the game. I'm not going to go over, a bunch of that. He also mentioned how Goff was outstanding. He absolutely was. I thought he played a heck of a game. But when he starts to talk about, everyone showed up today, the O-line, they had the run game going. Owasika, a guy that I know I've counted out in the past, clearly the right move, the right guy. Less and less am I really, a lot of people call me the Brad Holmes homer, right? Because I just believe in everything that Brad Holmes is doing. One, that's not the case. But two, this is why I start to believe a lot more in what this team is doing, how they're set up, what they're doing at the trade deadline or free agency or the draft. Because Coyote Owasika, I never thought was going to make this roster the last 2 seasons. I just didn't. I thought by default that he would, but I didn't think that he would really earn a spot. But we didn't have anybody else, I think, that was better than him. Clearly, they have a different idea of Owasika, and he showed up with consistency, and that's huge. Special teams. I saw somebody in the chat saying they're concerned about special teams. I am a little too over the last couple of weeks, but in this game, we got gashed one big time. That can't happen. Like this team, look, I failed you guys because I was going to go in and look at plays from Minnesota last week when we were going to do tape review. I didn't do the tape review, so I promise I will do it. I'll start working on it today, and we will get it done. We're going to review some of the Viking stuff in this game. But Dan calling plays. One, he says that he was taking input from John Morton and the other coaches. It was all-encompassing. They all worked together. He was asked about, when or why or how, right? Why did this change? He felt that he just needed to change it up. See if they could find some rhythm. That word rhythm has been something that I've been using for a while now. It just seems like we've been out of it, right? I know, Eric, you've mentioned the same thing. Just didn't seem like the same team. Dan said definitively, though, they wanted to make a change, that it was just for today. It may be just for today. It may not. Will Dan be calling plays against the Eagles? I think he will be. But we don't know how much longer that's going to continue, if it will continue the whole season. And there's something that he kind of finished with as to the reason why it can become a problem. And one of the things that he had mentioned is this. Asked about calling plays. Did you consider it when Ben Johnson left? He did, thoroughly. He enjoys it, but it requires a lot of himself. And he says, if he takes over, who takes his job? Who's going to do what Dan Campbell's doing? And the resources, they get lost somewhere. Someone is going to have to do what he's doing and pick up the pieces. It's not like he can do it all. He can't be an offensive coordinator and a head coach. He can call plays, but he can't be an offensive coordinator. Does that make sense, Eric? You know where I'm going with that? Like, he can't get in there and coach the guys every minute of the day and be in his office and putting game plans and reviewing the things that he reviews all the time and be on the field doing Dan and doing John Morton. Like, he's stretched too thin. So he recognizes that having somebody like John Morton stick with the team is important. It's, like he said, vital, not only to the team, but the role of offensive coordinator. And if Dan is going to call plays, how vital that is for him to be able to execute at the way that Dan needs to execute, because he was bailed out, as he said a couple of times. He was bailed out by Jared Goff. He wasn't perfect. He made mistakes too. At the end of the day, though, he says what's right for the team is what he's going to do. Whatever is right for the team. So what's right for the team? We need to win. What's right for the team? Well, they need to look like they did on Sunday. And I feel like this team was a brand new team simply because he mentioned the surge. Like, the surge, there was electricity flowing through these guys again. And he said you could feel the offense or the line of scrimmage just move all day, pointing to the offensive line, just taking it over. Dan mentioned that he felt like, I know these players. This is something that I've had to say recently to somebody, just a few weeks ago when I was talking like about my sheets and things like that, or when you get people involved to help you do things. When I said, you just don't know what's in my head. It's kind of hard to kind of go through a show or to kind of go through things if you don't know what's on paper, if you don't go through the work, if you don't put the work in, it's kind of hard to show up. right? You have to put the work in. You can't just show up and expect to get it all right. And he just said the same thing. Look, you know what I know what's in my head. I know what needs to be done. Sometimes it's hard to communicate that, and I just have to show you. I just have to do it. And if you don't put the same energy in, then you're not going to be able to do what I'm asking you to do or what I'm hoping is going to happen or what I want to happen. So Dan just recognized, that maybe there was a disconnect between him and John Morton, and that disconnect was that John Morton just wasn't grasping the idea of what Dan Campbell wanted. It's not that the players can't do it. It's not that they don't have the play design. It's that simple. Like, you can't execute at a high level if you don't know what the game plan is. And I just feel like John Morton maybe just didn't understand what the game plan was week to week. I love the fact that Johnny Morton, was still able to help. We got a caller. Hold on.
Yep.
Hey, this is Rockhound Detroit Lions. Who do I got on the line?
How you doing, guys?
Hey, doing good.
Raw.
Yeah, give me 1 second, Raw. Give me let me finish this thought.
Finish your thought.
Yeah, let me finish this thought real quick. All right, so Eric, I'm going to bounce it to you. What did you take away from Dan and in his press conference here?
Okay, so I'm going to say a couple things. I'm going to mention a couple of coaches. Andy Reid, Matt LaFleur, Sean McVay, Kevin O'Connell. What do all those head coaches do?
They call plays.
They all call plays. Okay, so there's no reason that Dan Campbell can't call the plays. He's got Scotty Montgomery to lean on to take some of these head coaching position things away from him. Give him some responsibilities. Say, hey, you're going to be responsible for calling timeouts. You're going to be responsible for doing this, doing that. It's on you now. I have to call plays. And Johnny Morton, you're going to help me. You're not just going to sit up in the booth and do nothing. You're going to come down here on the sidelines and you're going to stand next to me, or you can be the guy in the booth that tells me what's going on from upstairs. So we're getting not only up top, we're getting down on the bottom with me down here. But I'm going to have the ability to talk to these guys, and we're going to make this happen the way it's supposed to happen. And that's kind of what I took away. Maybe he just has to figure out how to dole out the responsibilities, and that's what's going to get worked out in the next week or so, because I don't see Dan relinquishing this. He's too good not to keep going, and he'll get better with a little practice because he hasn't done it since 2021.
Yeah. So, my thought is kind of similar to that. We're going to bounce to Raw here in about 30 seconds. The difference, I think, with Andy Reid is I know that he's had Matt Nagy as an offensive coordinator. I think he's the
Eric
offensive
enemy.
But I think he's the offensive coordinator this year, if I'm not mistaken. He's kind of his right-hand man. They also have their quarterbacks coach, their pass game coordinator, their offensive line coach, right? They have all the same coaches that we do, right? All the same coaches that we do. The difference is Andy Reid and some of these other coaches that are calling plays, they have another line of assistants, meaning whether it's an assistant head coach, which we have in Scotty Montgomery, but another assistant on top of that to help kind of fill in those gaps. I don't know if we have an extra assistant or if that's something that we're going to have to hire, or the Lions are going to have to hire next season if Dan's going to continue to call plays.
Have you seen the young gentleman? He looks a lot like the offensive coordinator for the Jets that left us.
Tanner?
Very similar. Yeah, like Tanner Engstrand. He looks very similar to him. He's very tan, got a very, very short stubble look, and he's a young guy, really young, and no one knows, like I've been seeing online, like, who is this guy? And he follows Dan all around during the game and everything. And I saw him even last night when Dan did his locker room speech. I don't know who he is or what he does. I got to find out, and I'm wondering if that's like someone just soaking it all in.
I gotcha. Yeah, so I think Dan can do it. I think it's just surrounding himself with more assistants. All right, let's get to Raw, man. Good morning, Raw. How are you this morning? What would you like to share?
Well, a lot of my talking points you guys discussed earlier. So
that's all right. Hit it all again. It's all good. Hit it all again.
It's all It's nice to be able to chat with like-minded individuals. Enjoy your show as always. I think you kind of hit the nail on the head there earlier when you said, I don't think Dan Campbell's done with Johnny Morton. I don't think he is either. I think this is really first experience where Johnny Morton was basically given the keys to the garage. And I think it was kind of surreal to him. The weapons that we've been able to accumulate on this roster, I think a lot of the things that he was doing in Denver really wasn't him doing it. I think we all know Sean Payton being the offensive guru and the mastermind of the New Orleans offense with Drew Brees, kind of told Johnny Morton how he wanted things to go, and Johnny Morton stuck to that mentality. Whereas Dan Campbell kind of gave him the keys to the garage and said, get creative and put on a show for us. And I think he kind of fumbled the ball a little bit. I think Dan Campbell taking over the play calling yesterday was a great sign that he's helping Johnny Morton learn how to use these weapons. He's trying to embrace him and engage him in the likelihood that he can transpire further on down the road and into his career as a possible head coach by teaching him the different methods that this offense runs, as well as helping him become more diverse in his play calling. I see a lot of potential with the formations that Johnny Morton has in an offensive coordinating position, as well as scheming guys open. Mm-hmm. I just don't think we've gotten into that potential to where he can really kind of just mesh with his players and collaborate with them and see things on their level as well. I think he's got a little bit of Pat Patricia mentality, that it's his way or the highway. And I think Dan Campbell's seeing that and is going to break him into a different direction.
So that's a lot there. I mean, I didn't think of the Matt Patricia aspect there, where maybe it's his way or the highway. I did not appreciate the way that John Morton was kind of throwing our guys under the bus last week. I mean, yeah, there's some guys that are they weren't playing to their to their level. Obviously, the standard was not met, but I think that what Dan Campbell does is, he explains that there's some issues. He doesn't call anybody out independently. And if he does, then man, it's really gone too far. But I think that Dan will approach those things one-on-one. And at the end of the day, Johnny Morton should have stood up there and said, this is my fault. I'm not seeing it right. I did something wrong. I didn't prepare well enough. Whatever. You got to point all the fingers at you, even though you may not be the one responsible. At the end of the day, you are the one responsible. And I think that would have gone over a lot better with the fan base had he done that. But, man, he didn't. And the fan base let him know that's not going to happen.
It's a bit of acceptance. And if you've never been held accountable, you don't know how to hold yourself accountable and accept the good with the bad. You know what I mean? So that's why I think a lot of the situation that we took him from Denver, we really didn't take him from Denver. Like, Sean Payton wasn't fighting to keep him.
Yeah, and I'm wondering why. Look, I think that Johnny Morton's a smart football mind. I mean, you don't coach 20 plus years at various levels and not know the game of football. And I think to your first point, like, he comes into this offense and probably looked a little bit shocked at, or probably was a little bit shocked, like, holy cow, I don't even know how to integrate 7 weapons into an offensive scheme, let alone use 3 on any given play, which that maybe it was just a little bit too much for him to try to, dial up all these crazy formations, as opposed to, dude, just stick to what works, change the language, and go play ball. I think he tried to get too greedy with it.
That's the other thing as well, right? He was walking into an offense the garage was full of exotic and powerful muscle cars and European cars. And he said he wasn't going to change what's been working. He's going to tweak it a little bit, but he wasn't familiar with our system. He wasn't familiar with how we attack the defense. So if he's not familiar with it, how is he going to become familiar with it? He's got to call some plays. He's got to see what's working, what's not working. Like, in a traditional sense, throwing a bubble screen against Minnesota would naturally work because they blitz a lot through the middle. However, those edge rushers weren't crashing in.
Nope.
They were diving out. So they were blowing up those bubble screens. But if you're looking at it from overhead, all you see is them crashing in and getting pressure on Goff. Goff's trying to pitch it outside. The edge rusher's right there to blow the play up.
Yeah, no, those edge rushers, they were leaking to the flats all game that game and making sure that we didn't do anything. That's a good takeaway. I mean, your offensive coordinator should be able to notice that right away. Like, hey, why are they not crashing in? And if they're not, why I should be throwing behind them, not in front of them. The middle of that field was wide open in that game.
The other thing is this game, I loved how we were using JMO on the short crosses. We were using them on some curl routes. We were using them on a bench route, which Minnesota used against us last week. So Dan Campbell took some of the negatives away from that game and how they beat us, and he was implying them into this game to stop a team from doing what they did last week to us this week.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
It was super effective. I'd still like to see Monty out there to start the game. I think he adds the power dynamic, even though he doesn't like to be seen as a power back. He adds that power dynamic that Gibbs just doesn't have in his game as of yet. He's still learning how to run in between the tackles and use his legs to generate more power on impact when clashing with linebackers and DTs instead of trying to get skinny and slide in between them. I think if we can use Monty more at the beginning of the game, and then once the defense kind of feels the weight of him crashing into them, let Gibbs get in there, and maybe they'll be a little more timid at making that first initial contact. That little bit of hesitation could be all Gibbs needs to break a 50, 60, 75-yard run and take it to the house. I definitely enjoyed seeing Isaac Tesla out there as well. He had a number of different snaps in this game. He was out there primarily run blocking, but getting him on the field, get him acclimated to the offense, kind of the way we did with JMO when we were first breaking him into the scheme. I really enjoyed that. That shows a lot of promise for Tesla going through week 14 to week 18 and entering the playoffs, getting him a few routes and a few catches down the line. So I definitely appreciated that. Tyrion Arnold played a hell of a game. He's exactly what the Lions need. So I know he catches a lot of flack, but he's exactly what we need. We need a physical corner who's not afraid to put his hands on a wide receiver, especially a bigger wide receiver.
Yeah.
You look at some of these guys in the NFC, like Roma Dunze and stuff like that. Like, these are big boys. You need a cornerback who's not afraid to get dirty with them.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what we need. That's exactly what we got. You got to stop the hate on him. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about fans in general.
Yeah, I don't get that.
You got to take the good with the bad.
Yeah,
you got to take the good with the bad.
Our fan base expects perfection. Eric, do you have any comments or replies to any of what Raw's bringing to light here?
Yeah, just that I agree with the whole Tesla thing. I wish they would have got him a little bit more involved. 1 catch for 11 yards and 2 targets. His second target hit the ground right in front of his feet. I wish they got him just a little more involved. I only saw him out there on maybe 5 or 6 offensive plays. And one of those was when Amon-Ra St. Brown got some of the dirt or whatever in his eye. He had something in his eye and they were flushing his eye out, and Tesla went out there for a play or two. And I just
got one more point to make here. Sorry to cut you off,
ahead.
Eric. Please continue.
No, go ahead. Yeah.
I loved how Jared Goff was smiling after some of those hits he was taking early on in the game. He looked like he was having fun out there, even though he was getting a little roughed up. However, even though Sewell and Decker may have been preoccupied outside of that box after the play, when you got a defensive lineman who's coming in face-to-face with your quarterback and talking shit, those young linemen got to get up in his ass. They got to, excuse the French, they got to move him out the way. They got to get in his face. They got to show the same attitude and grit that he is giving your damn quarterback.
Yeah.
Goff's got to know that his O-line's got his back just like he's got their back.
Yeah.
The fact that Goff stood his ground, and was talking like that to a bigger man and did not back up, did not retreat, did not look for help. Commend to Goff, man. That's a big boy right there.
Well, yeah, and I mean,
Those young O-linemen got to be in there. You can't sit there and wait for the reps to pull the man back and push him back to his huddle. Like, your young O-linemen got to get in there. They got to make sure they know who's running the show, and it's the Detroit Lions offensive line.
Yeah, I love seeing Goff
take the pace.
I love seeing Goff stand his ground. We're up against it today. Appreciate you calling in, Raw. We'll get to some of these comments here.
Yep, no worries.
We'll catch you next
You
week
guys have a great
or the
day.
next show. Take care, buddy.
Peace.
All right. Final comments for you, Eric.
Just that I thought on that play that, for one, there would have been a penalty. There wasn't. There should have been. And number two, I'm amazed it didn't start a brawl.
Yeah.
Like, literally, I thought, hey, here we go. This is going to be a brawl. And they didn't. They just let it go.
Yeah, I was a little surprised there too, man. I was a little surprised there too. All right, we'll catch you tomorrow morning, buddy.
All right, man.
All
See you guys.
We'll see you. Yeah, so I was a little miffed when I believe it was Kinlaw, right? That was up in Jared's face. I was just looking at a replay of that a minute ago, just flashed across the screen. When he was pumping his fist like this at Jared Goff, I look, I agree with everything that Eric was just saying there too. Like, how did that not get a flag? Number one. And I agree with Raw. Where was the offensive line? Why did they not come in and try to clear that out? I will say this. Had Penei Sewell or Decker or anybody got in between Goff and Kinlaw, that's when the brawl would have happened. That's immediately when the brawl would have happened, because if they would have gone in and even touched Kinlaw, he would have taken that as a threat and he would have done something. The dude was totally out of line. I just saw something I was tagged in something. I think it was on Woodward Sports, one of their things on Twitter. Like, some guy was commenting and saying that Amon-Ra St. Brown really showed himself after he scored on a touchdown. What did he do? What did Amon-Ra St. Brown do that was so bad after scoring a touchdown? I didn't notice anything. I didn't notice anything at all. They did that little funny dance, but that's all they did. What else did they do? I don't know. This dude was all hopped up on something, man, and it wasn't about football at all. He was totally out of his mind. You know, their team's not doing well this year. Maybe it was just a lot of aggression, but to Eric's point earlier, had he ended up catching Amon-Ra St. Brown underneath, the chin strap there and broke his jaw or something, just like what happened with Carlton Davis last year. Now, he didn't get hit, but with a fist, but he ended up breaking his jaw. Yeah, he would have been out for 6 weeks or more, maybe the rest of the season. There goes the season, right? Now you have JMO in as your number one, and that totally changes everything. I don't get it. I don't obviously condone it. It has no play in sports whatsoever. It's stupid. What Brian Branch did was stupid. It's not expected. It shouldn't happen. And I think he should get more than one game because, I mean, this was totally Amon-Ra St. Brown was just kind of watching it right now, just kind of walking up. I don't know if he was saying something to him. We can't really tell. But that doesn't deserve someone to try to, put 300 pounds of force into a punch. I hope that dude's hands broke today. Really, I hope it is. I got plenty of boxer fractures from all my days in boxing legally. But like all my knuckles are missing on the right side of my hand because I missed the target a couple of times. Let's just say that. Heads are hard. I know his hand has to be hurt. That plastic's not soft. A couple other things I wanted to add here. How many of you noticed this yesterday? David Montgomery was feeling a certain kind of way after he fumbled last week, which many say that fumble probably lost us the game. I would say that there's way more going on. Just like people try to blame Jared Goff and some interceptions and things like that for all of our loss last year against Washington. I wouldn't say that. I think that there was a culmination of things that happened in that game, and it wasn't just one play or two plays that lost us that game. With Montgomery versus, Minnesota, it wasn't just that one play that lost us that game. What did he do all game long? Where did you see him hold the football, right? High and tight all game long as he's walking. As a matter of fact, during this play, he's walking around with that ball high and tight. After every time he touched the football, no matter where he was, he accentuated the act after the 2-point run or after the 2-point score. He was walking around with that ball high and tight, just kind of showing everybody, see, I still got the ball. And I love it, man. I love that energy because it means something to him. He does not like to fumble the football, and he probably heard it. I let you guys down, and now I got to make up for it. So loved it. Loved his energy. There was an echo in the call. I didn't hear it. I'll go back and see if I've got an audio issue. I had to change everything this morning because we had some issues with audio before we got started. I might have missed a setting. Might have missed a setting, but I'll double check. Anyway, we're going to get back at it tomorrow morning. I promise we'll take more phone calls tomorrow and we'll get into it. What am I missing in here? What's going on in the chat? What did I miss in the chat? What's going on? I don't know. I guess, mods, you can clue me in afterwards. If there's something going on, just let me know. Anyway, we're going to get back to it tomorrow morning on the Rise and Grind Morning Show, 8 a.m. And then tomorrow morning, there will be an additional show that, it's kind of a video that will be popping up. So I'm getting back to doing a little bit more recording. And I'm going to start recording something every day, and I'm going to drop it every morning. So you can either catch it before the show or after the show. That's totally up to you, but I'm going to start getting something out every day now for the rest of the season, at least during the weekdays. My goal is 3 days. I'd love to get to 5 days a week if I can, but at least 3 days, and then I can start getting things put up for the Believe Network. And then we just got to get 5,000 downloads. So we just need your help on getting the audio downloads. It'll be available on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, all the big name podcasts. You'll be able to find it. So you guys have a wonderful rest of the day, man. A victory Monday. Your Detroit Lions played a hell of a game against Washington yesterday. Be interesting to see where this progresses into Philly. And if Dan Campbell's going to be calling plays again. If I was a betting man, I know we bet for fun here. We don't really do it. I mean, I don't really do it for a career, right? I'd be willing to bet everything that Dan Campbell is going to be calling plays next week. Big win for us tonight, Monday Night Football. If you guys like to stream it and talk about it tonight, I'm open to that. We can do that. Just let me know. Send me a message, send me an email, whatever. Let me know in the chat right now if you guys want to hang out and watch the game tonight. I'll be available. I'll check the chat when we leave. You guys have a good night or have a good rest of your day. Go One Pride, go Detroit Lions. We'll catch you in the next one.
Pressured by